Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about herbs that you get from the supermarket and how to make them live longer. So when you buy a herb, it should look like this. It will come in a plastic container. It'll be quite well grown, maybe not as big as this one because I've had this for a few months, and it'll be quite congested. Now the first thing you want to do is repot this, and I'll tell you why once I've taken the cover off. So first of all, you want to take off the cover, which you can normally just slide off. I've had this one for too long, so I'm going to have to cut it away. Okay, that's it out of the cover. Now the reason that these plants don't live very long when you buy them from the supermarket is they've got them in this tiny pot, and if you actually look, there's not one plant, but there's often many different plants all crowded in together. A good example is this one that I've also already repotted, which is a basil plant. And you might think, oh, that's one nice basil plant, but actually it's probably about 30-40 basil plants. If you look in there, you can see all those little plants. Now the thing is, each one of these probably wants, one plant would probably want a pot about this size, but there's about 30 or 40 plants in this pot. That's the repotted one. So you see here, you'll have 30 or 40 plants in one tiny pot, and they really need a lot more root space. Now the lack of root space means there's no food for them, so as soon as you get them home, they'll just kind of give up because there's no food left to keep them going. The other problem that they'll have is there's very little water for them. So you water them, and within a day they'll probably die in dehydration again. Just do lots of regular watering. So what a lot of people do to overcome that is just soak them. But then the other problem is they get soaked and they'll get overwatered. So if you repot them, it's one of the best things you can do. So what you're going to do is get your plant, turn it upside down, just tap it a little bit, loosen it up. You might have some roots at the bottom, you might have to rip them off. Just take the pot off like so. Now what you should find is there'll be a lot of roots. And this one's not too bad actually, but they can be really badly pot bound. And this one's quite good because this one's mint and it's already starting to reroot there. So what you want to do is put it in the soil about the same height as it was in the original container. So I'll put a little bit of compost into the bottom. As you do so, keep checking that it's got the right depth as you go along. That one's not bad now. And then you want to put compost in the top and pack it in down the sides so that it's nice and firm down. But you don't want to push down really hard, you just want to gently press it so that the compost goes down the cracks. What you don't want to do is press it hard so that it compacts the compost, because if you compact the compost, it's very difficult for the roots to grow because they're having to push against the hard compost. It's not light and free and easy for them to grow through, but also you actually restrict the amount of airspace in the compost, which will actually lead to the roots rotting off and quite detrimental to the plants. So I'll continue that now on this side. And with that, I planted this plant a little bit deeper than I would normally for most plants, but this is a mint, and mint readily roots along the stems, so that's not an issue. If you're doing it with anything else that you get from supermarkets, say basil, coriander, chives, you want to put them the same deep depth as the original compost, but with the mint you can put a little bit deeper. So that's it all covered. Now what I want to do is tap it down a little bit, make sure it's fine and secure, and then you want to water that in well. So as I said, here's what I did before. This is already outgrown this pot, so I'll actually want to repot this again because it's too small. So I'll just tip this out, let you see it. So you can see there are lots of roots, a bit too many roots for the size of pot, so it's struggling, but what you would do is repot that into a larger pot again, give it more space. But what you could also do is, because there's so many plants in here, if you're very careful, you can tease the outer ones out, and you can actually divide the plants up. And if you do that, you can actually put them in 3 or 4 pots. You'll take them out like so, very carefully teasing them apart, and there you have, that's one basil plant. So what you could do with that now is just put it in another pot, pot it up, and that would be a whole new plant for you just for free. So if you want to really maximise your herbs from the supermarket, think, oh, I've got one plant, we've actually got a 40, get those 40 plants, pot them up individually into the same size pot that they come in, and what you'll have is 40 young plants for the price of one. Okay, they're a lot smaller, but they're all actually seedlings, and they will grow a lot bigger, and within a few months this one will be the size of this one. So that's a great way to revitalize your plants, keep them growing for longer, and save a lot of money in the process.